conversations, things that get you to think and evolve and grow. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Julia. Y'all, invite people into this conversation. I want to host a conversation today about innovation, creativity. Pastor Mark, you're going to want to hear this. Innovation, creativity, and the need, the absolute necessity for intergenerational working together. Intergenerational co-laboring. How about that? That sounds all spiritual, right? Intergenerational co-laboring. And I'm not just talking about people of God and in the church, although that is such a huge area that I've been extremely passionate about for several years as I've seen generational breakdowns in the church setting and how that has actually hindered church growth at large. But I'm also seeing it happen in the marketplace. So whether you are in the ministry or the marketplace or anywhere in between, I believe that God is calling us into a new level of awareness to where we can begin talking about the necessity right here, right now, in this day, in this age, in this culture, in this time, for intergenerational co-laboring. What do I mean by that? Okay, I just got out of getting a pedicure. Praise the Lord, hallelujah. The salons are open again. I'm sorry if you disagree and think that I should be home, but we don't get to shit on each other, right? Yes, this is a safe place where we get to, let people think for themselves. And so I just got a pedicure and I had the most beautiful conversation with the gal that was doing my toes. And here's why I want to share this with you because it's important. The young girl that was doing my toes, we were talking about culture. We were talking about the effects that this COVID-19 and the shutdowns and the salons haven't been open since the middle of March and the loss of revenue and how the salon opened over a week ago. They've been open for over a week and it's really by appointment only. And, they're just abiding by all the CDC standards and what have you. But she told me what she has found interesting since the salon has opened is that many people are calling and setting their appointments and then they're not showing up. And she said the only thing that I could think of in this time is that people are finding other salons that might be able to accommodate them getting in faster. And so they might make an appointment with us, but then call a salon down the street or go walk in and they might be available. And so they're forfeiting their appointment for the convenience of service. Okay, so what I found interesting is that we just had this beautiful discussion about the need for everyone to reevaluate how they're going about normal business practices and what different procedures and systems can be put in place to where we're able to do business differently than before and not be as negatively affected by things like this. Meaning, in a salon environment, for example, where you get nails and pedicures and manicures and things like that, one of the things that I shared with her as an observation from a client perspective is that at large, there's been a lack of, there's been a lack of relational connectivity, meaning that most nail salons and things you go into, you just kind of walk in and they just, have you write your name down and they just put you in a chair and they do your service and they take your money and you leave and that's it. And so what I'm encouraging this young gal to do is to think differently. I said, regardless of the business practice that you have been exposed to by those of your bosses and your leaders or your own family members, you now get to evaluate coming from a different perspective since you're younger, that you have different talents, you have different skills, you have different exposure to things like technology and forms of communication that you would be able to implement, if not at the salon at large, for your own personal business practice. And I said, it really all just depends on what your personal goals are in the future. Because one of the things I've studied for a really long time is Robert Kiyosaki's book. Are you familiar with Robert Kiyosaki? Amazing. There's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it talks about the fact that like self-employed people or employees, you're trading your time for dollars, right? So if you don't show up or if you get sent home or if you get furloughed or if you don't have a client behind a chair or a booth or whatever, then our income can stop. When you're self-employed or as an employee, you're at the mercy of either your employer or your clients. The other way to go about it, and other forms of income that you can simultaneously move into, is that of a business owner or an investor, or both. Meaning, how can we establish business practices where we're leveraging the benefit of utilizing other people's labor and skills and talents to where they're able to exercise their skills and trade that for money and time for money, right? And we can provide opportunity for other people to do that and also benefit financially from that, right? That's like the mindset of an entrepreneur or a business owner. Duh. So wherever you're at, okay, in this spectrum of employee or a self-employed person, or maybe you are a business owner and an entrepreneur, I think all of us, no matter where we're at, we get to evaluate what we're doing and how we can go about doing things differently for max benefit, right? So I said to her, this lady that was doing my toes today, how can you begin to evaluate your own personal business strategy while working in the salon that can help you move closer to your future goals and allow you to experience the life that you ultimately want? One of the things that she had said was, I grew up with working parents, and though they taught me a lot about hustle and things and hard work and sacrifice, I wasn't really able to experience the type of parenting that I would have liked to. And that's one of her core values in moving into her own future, is I don't want to replicate that same thing. I don't want my kids to have the same experience that I had. So she has an opportunity now to rethink how she's doing business and what her future goals are, and establish a plan that can actually meet those goals and meet those core needs and those inner desires that she has, right? Now, I started this conversation and I said that it's important that we begin to understand the critical importance of intergenerational co-laboring. Now, what she had mentioned is that a lot of these older people and salon owners, business owners, pastors, leaders, executive people in high places and position in the marketplace, whatever, what they could utilize probably now more than ever is the innovation, the creativity, the forward thinking, the passion, the energy that they can get and leverage and utilize from younger people. What we often see is that people in executive high-level leadership positions, whether that be senior leaders of churches or pastors or people in their high places, what begins to happen sometimes if we're not careful is that they shut off those lines of communications with people that are in lower level positions or up and coming because of this like leadership mentality of like, well, I'm the boss and I'm the one that's responsible and I have to figure this all out on my own, and well, I've been doing this for so long and I know how it should be done and I know what needs to happen next and I'm the one at the helm, driving the ship thing here. But really, when they begin to, I think there's an opportunity here, when they begin to invite younger generations into that conversation, really listen and interview them and listen and think and ask really quality questions. What do you think that we're doing well? What could we be improving on? How can we, reach different markets? How can we leverage social media to work more effectively in our favor? How can we, build and establish better and longer lasting relationships with our clients, with our constituents, with our customers, with our patrons, with our parishioners, with our congregants, whatever, because opening ourselves up to those types of conversations can bring us into solutions that we otherwise may not have. And I, for one, have known what it's like to be in a significant position of leadership or what have you, where I'm trying to communicate the critical importance of maybe evaluating our systems and strategies in order to accommodate future growth and sustainability. And I also know what it's like to feel silenced and to feel pushed away and to feel rejected or to feel unwelcome in those conversations, or that proverbial kind of tap on the head like, oh, that's so cute, thank you, but if I wanted your opinion, I'd ask for it kind of mentality. And I think now is the time, now that we've seen so much change with our normal business practices and overall operations of life, I think now is that critical time where people can kind of blow the horn on this thing and say, hey, our elders, our leaders, the people that have, gone before us and that have taken the risk, that have held on to these positions, I want to partner with you. I want to help you. My heart is to serve in a way that can maybe bring some creative solutions, innovations, new systems and strategies that can partner with their future vision, and that we together intergenerationally, can co-labor together for the betterment and the good of the church, of the organization, of the business, of the whatever. Do you see how exciting it is that God is going, hey, everybody's on board right now. My team, the church, the family of Christ, whether in the marketplace or in the ministry, get to begin to cross those generational barriers and the divides that have been created. And now is the time that we get to co-labor together intergenerationally to take these missions, these visions, and these values into the future in new, innovative, creative ways that will sustain future growth. I don't know about you, but sometimes I think to myself, I'm 34 years old now, and I think, God willing, I have, over 50 years left on the planet. And so when I experience resistance from elders of any kind, that and it kind of rubs me the wrong way because, and I do have a tendency to get a little defensive because I think to myself, this world that I'm living in, I have the next 50 plus years, on this planet. I'm deeply invested. I deeply care about the overall operations of what's happening in our culture. And I don't know about you and where you're at. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're not. I'm not yet a parent, but I think about the future for my children. And I think about the importance of creating and partnering with God, thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Our responsibility, not just in these times, but all the time, to make sure that we're partnering with heaven to create a culture around us that is good and healthy and operational and in harmony with heaven, in harmony with kingdom core values. Because apathetic church or an apathetic people who just turned a blind eye and say, I'm not going to step into these things. I'm not going to talk about these things. I'm not going to speak out. I'm not going to be an activist or an applicationist in biblical values. And I'm just going to, go along to get along to go along rather. We're putting ourselves and our future generations at risk. And I want to work with our current up and coming generations. And as I continue to age, to always have that mindset of they know things that I don't know. They're exposed to technologies and communication strategies that I may not be aware of. And so when we're willing to humble ourselves and always keep, a firm arm on the future, and not be so addicted to the past, that we're living in this harmonious kind of this in-between in time and space, and where God has placed us in history, which is his story. And the fact that we get to link arms with those that have gone before us, like our elders, and honor them and lift them up and learn from them and learn from the past, but that we also have another arm that we get to link on to the future and the now and the up and coming generations to ensure that we're being that bridge and that not the divider, but the mediator of those generations. Do you see the beautiful, the critical importance of intergenerational co-laboring in this time and season? I don't know how you're going to apply this to your life. I know it was a long conversation, but I just encourage you to spend some time in prayer and to think about these things, to journal, to talk to one of your mentors, to reach out to a coach or a guide, somebody that can help you kind of navigate your own thoughts and really encourage you to apply these types